Hello, hello.
What's up, dude?
How you doing? How's your day?
Good, dude. Lots of meetings. I'm a little drained, but
Man, you don't have to be on this meeting.
dude, dude, I get value from it. So yeah, it's
Okay.
a benefit to me to be here.
Cool. I'm fired up for tonight's talk. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, may not go too long as far as like, all the way to the end of the hour. We're gonna have plenty of time for Q&A. So, but it's gonna be pretty good. Something that's helped me a lot. I hope
Okay.
others do. If not, it'll be a good video to watch later down the line.
Sure. Cool. I'm excited. You got to be careful with that hat, though, dude.
It's just the state.
Oh, it's that color though.
I did maybe get it in Chapel Hill.
Uh, Dang, did you really?
Yeah.
Word.
Awesome. Hello.
Hello, gang. Man, what's goody?
Um, cool. All right. I'm excited. Let me get my HDMI. I'll wait a couple more minutes. I don't know if anyone else will join. Been talking to some new people about joining the crew, the investing club, coaching mentorship. So we might have, I expect us to have some new people next few weeks. Should be cool. Catch them up to speed, keep imparting knowledge on them. But I'm gonna put this over here. Got a cool PowerPoint for tonight. It's gonna be on a great topic that'll help us grow and invest, whether it be in real estate, business, generally life, just kind of getting some perspective on what drives us and motivates us, and ways that we should think that maybe we weren't taught or have heard of before. If you have seen a lot of this stuff tonight, hopefully there's a nugget or so that really resonates with you. So it's 8:05. We'll go ahead and get started. Let me share my screen. And take notes along the way. Stop me. It's okay. This may be more of a presentation, but can also be a conversation. If there's at any point, you can either raise your hand here on the bottom or just kind of unmute. There's only a few of us, so I don't mind. But we also have time for Q&A at the end. So let's go here. View slideshow. Cool. Okay, so tonight we're going to be talking about the millionaire investor's mindset. I am not technically a millionaire yet, but I do have $1 million in equity in real estate. So, can kind of talk on this. This is mainly, again, the mindset to get there. So that's what we're all working towards. Let's start it. So I first want you to ask yourself, what does your dream life look like? Your life with finances. How does that financially look for you? Your family and friends, the time that you spend with them, who you spend your time with, how that looks, things like that. What you like to do. Exactly. Where would you like to go? Is that, yourself, your significant other, family, or friends? All these things adding into your dream life. And then a big one I want to focus on, and I think we all have this at our hearts, at the core of our hearts, is our community and our societal contribution. I'm very focused on what real estate does for the community directly, either for your tenants, for the vendors and contractors that you use, and all the ways that real estate really helps the community. So what does your dream life look like? And really picture that. That's usually pretty easy to do. So I'm going to jump into the next slide and let's dive a little bit deeper. So another question I want you to ask yourself is, why do you want to invest? It's a question I'm asking you right now, and I'll dive a little bit deeper into a few points. So first, what's your motivation? There's all sorts of motivations, and you don't have to pick just one, but a motivation that is strong enough to your core that turns you back to why you're doing what you're doing when times are hard, when things aren't going your way, when a project has gone south, someone has, misrepresented themselves or something, a service that they provide, and you're thrown for a loop, when an emergency or potential natural disaster happens, all of which I've experienced. You really have to have a strong motivation as to why you're doing it, or you're going to crumble. You might throw in the towel. You might give up. And the greatest success is just simply not giving up. So if you have this down, then it's really going to help you as you work through your investing process, to overcome challenges and to find success. So another reason why I want you to ask yourself and maybe write down why you want to invest is your personal impact. How does that impact you personally? Whether it be through the feeling of achievement, of growth, of social connection through building relationships. Obviously, in all hopes, financial, a great change financially. What does that do for you personally? How would your life look differently? And how will it, honestly, if we're in this group, how will it look differently as you succeed? So another one, tying that back to the community and contribution, community and societal impact, is how does this impact those around you, your external impact, whether that be, again, family and friends, or your community around you and other individuals that you know. This is more so relating to, and I point over here because that's my second screen, but this is more so relating to people, okay? And the last one, again, the world impact. What are you doing through real estate, through investing? It could be 401k, stocks, things like that, another business. But what are you doing through that business, through the change it brings your life to impact the world? Whether that be, pursuing potentially a nonprofit. That's maybe like the easiest one, but maybe so. Partnering with one, donating, giving, providing consulting services, a whole myriad of opportunities come from your growth and your investing path that I want you to keep an eye out for. Maybe sometimes it's just simply as, being able to house someone highly in need of somewhere to live, or flipping a property in a neighborhood that's highly desirable, potentially has great schools, and a family, is looking to move in so that they can call a house a home. So these are just some different things I want you to really reflect on as to why you want to invest. I'll share with you my motivations. I feel like that would be something good to go over. I've shared some about community impact, but growing up, my dad worked like 14 to 16-hour days sometimes in the restaurant industry. And the sad part was he wasn't even financially bringing home like enough money to get groceries sometimes. There's not that many, but there's a few times my mom had to like borrow like birthday money from me, or even at the grocery store, I remember pulling up and we had to leave our groceries there because we couldn't afford it at the time. Like, we budgeted very hard, and thank God that, they sacrificed what they did, and I didn't have to go through a lot of other people did. But for me, money was and always has been a struggle in my family, more immediately. So that's a huge motivation I have. My mom also, after going through that struggle, ended up getting brain cancer and passing away. So that is another major thing that I realized life is just too short. And so I wanted to invest to give myself the freedom of time, give myself the freedom of, finances, alleviate that stress, and then go on and impact others. That's been a huge thing. Also to spend time around my wife, family, and kids, since the absence of my dad really did, affect me. Now, thankfully, we have a great relationship, but that's a huge motivation. Personally, it would change my life, get to have kids, travel the world, help out, families, retire parents, take care of like my autistic brother-in-law. So on the personal level, that would be and is already like what real estate and investing has afforded me, and then what further growing my cash flow and equity will provide, that I aim to do. Externally, again, like I said, kind of tying in family there, and community, providing to my church and other nonprofits. I partner with the Burlington homeless shelter to help house individuals. So being able to support them more in the services that they provide, financially, and maybe even, again, by consulting, and then a greater world impact. I have a lot of dreams and aspirations to build up or contribute to nonprofits, in the brain cancer space, in the affordable housing space, and overseas as well, being that my wife is from Lebanon and the opportunities there are very slim. So contributing there as well. These are my kind of motivations I can rattle off to you. There's plenty more. I could go on forever, but just so you know me a little bit better. But yeah, let's go to the next slide. So after you figure out, what your dream life looks like, why you want to invest, I want to give you some quotes, philosophies, nuggets of knowledge that can help you move along the way of mindsets you should have when pursuing investing. So first, this was my senior year quote, exiting college, very anti-establishment. If you can't tell, I'm self-employed, pursuing multiple businesses, but don't dream your life, live your dream. So it's really easy to get caught up just dreaming about the life you could live. But I want to challenge you every day that the life you are living is your dream. I think we all just need to convince ourselves of it, and not to say to accept the crap that you deal with on a day-to-day basis, but realize that these crap days per se, these times where you're not at your dream level, are all just steps to reach your dream. So, and then figuring out how to mold your life. And I hope being part of this program is, part of that, of how to change your life and take those steps to achieve your dream. Another one is, and I need to explain this one, but you might not intentionally not do something, but the question that I want to ask you is, did you intentionally do it? Are you going to intentionally do it? So oftentimes if there's presentation I need to put together, or not an offer, but or an analysis of a property, right? Or a potential offer to a seller finance deal, just real estate focused, but some things that I need to do, right? I might say, oh man, I completely I didn't mean like not to get to it. It just slipped away. But the question that I really need to ask myself in those moments is, did I intentionally put my focus and my efforts towards doing it? Because I intentionally put my focus and my efforts towards doing something, like time passed. What did I intentionally put my efforts, my thoughts, my focus on? Did I make time in my schedule? Did I write it down? So the sentence may not really make sense, but the whole point is, you may not intentionally not do something, but did you intentionally do it? Like, are you going to intentionally do it? Next. Oh, all right. So, all right, chill. Okay. So the next one is, let's see. Okay. Focus on shortening the period between thought and action. I just saw this TikTok video yesterday, I think. Layla Hormozi, she and her husband Alex are multimillionaires. They own many businesses. They're extremely, extremely smart. So let's watch this video real quick. I hope you can hear the sound through the computer. But the whole point, well, let's just get to it. She explained it better than I do.
Yeah, we can't hear a D. We can read it at least.
Okay, I'm gonna send it. It's short. Obviously, you could read it too. But this is just like, it was pretty fire. So I wanted to share with you guys. I'll send in the chat and then the Slack too. But let's see. Let's go. Okay, cool. So got that sent. So yeah, the whole point is once we don't take action, once we have a thought, might be a great idea, might be something that gets us to our next step, but unless we take action on it, and it's just going to build up, because if it's something we're kind of afraid to do, that's new to us, is uncomfortable, that uncomfort grows with time. So think of something, pick a task, and take action, attack it. This ties into my next few. Let's see, which is ask questions faster. So if you're going after something, let's say we have a meeting and we set some action points. If you run into something and you're like, I have a question on this, or I'm not sure, literally send it to me. Send it on Slack, send it in the group, send it to me personally, send it to me so I can answer you and help you keep going. There's no reason for a question to kind of be held and festered on. You're more than welcome to like research additionally yourself, but I want to create an environment and encourage you that just ask me. If anything, it helps me to understand like what you're going through at this stage, and I can better guide you. So ask questions faster to me, to lenders, to attorneys, to other investors that you might meet for their experience. But don't hold on to these questions, because the faster you get them asked, the faster you're going to get to your next step. And then next one, which ties into these three, is that problems are solvable. We got to really break down our tasks, and problems are solvable. There's a reason, not there's a reason there's problems, but they are. If you have the right team around you, if you have this group, look, we're right here, 4 investors in the group, and there's even more in the group chat. So you can send it. If I don't know, someone else knows, or is interested in knowing, and we can all find out and learn together. So problems are solvable. It's about having the right people, because we don't have all the skills ourselves. But again, if we've talked before about getting your team together, that's the whole point of having your team. So next one is be ready and don't hesitate when it's time to go for it. Being pre-approved, understanding the type of property you're looking for, understanding the price range, location, type of work or amount of work that you want to be doing, profit margin that is your minimum or that you're expecting or that you desire, whether that be percentage wise or numbers wise. When you need to be ready, and you need to take action, and don't hesitate when you see the right opportunity, because at that point you should have your whole checklist done: type of property, team, financing, you got me too. So like when you find something, move on it, because I'm going to tie this into the next slide. Let's see, I hope it's the first one. No, it's not. Anyways, speed is the name of the game. Investors move quickly on good deals, and you can't sit around and watch them. They won't be sitting long if they're good deals, and you will know if they're good deals because you've analyzed. So that's the whole goal in empowering you on how to find comps, how to analyze properties, how to find good properties, right? We want as many tactical advantages over the other investors as we can. So next one is fear manifests from a lack of knowledge. Ties into our, problems are solvable, take action. But essentially, that fear grows when we have a lack of knowledge. And so we need to loop in the right people. Whether that be, hey, if I do a hard money loan, can I get an FHA loan after that, or will it count me out? You might be fearful to pursue a fix and flip with a hard money loan because you might not get an FHA. But if those don't even cross paths, then why are you holding yourself back? So finding out the answers to those types of questions can just help you break through so many barriers and help you be successful. Discomfort, tying into that one, discomfort is healthy. Feeling uncomfortable means that growth is occurring. You may not feel it. You might feel like you're going backwards. But if you're uncomfortable, then your body and your mind are forcing you to learn how to escape that discomfort. And usually there's only one way to do that, which is through the discomfort. You cannot go around it. If you do, you're going to come right back to it. So embrace discomfort, embrace being uncomfortable. But one thing I will say is not to blow through it blindly, to bring hesitations are okay. But again, pulling the trigger when you are ready to go and because you're prepared is necessary. So winning and success are not guaranteed. Investing is risky. There's failures. You're going to lose some. My second part of that, but failure and learning are for sure. So yeah, as long as you're going along your path, you will fail. Just accept it. Failure will occur. And then also, as long as you have the right mindset and the right focus, learning is going to occur as well. So with those things, with enduring those things, I'm not saying life is just like all horrible, but really to be a $1 million investor, you're going to face challenges, some pretty serious ones. And winning and success are not always guaranteed, but they will happen if you go along your path long enough, strategic enough, with the right people around you. You will win, and you will find success. People are the purpose. This is something I want to bring up in real estate investing. Just remembering that someone is going to live in these properties. And if it's commercial investing, which we haven't really talked about a whole lot yet, but focusing on residential, someone's going to live there, whether you're flipping it, whether you're renting it. The whole goal is to provide someone a home, somewhere they can feel safe, somewhere they can make memories. And outside of that, working with others and building relationships. People are the purpose. Your vendors, your contractors, your attorneys, your CPAs, everybody involved, your partners, your fellow investors, focusing on relationships and realizing that meeting people, supporting people, collaborating with others, to create a sense of community and then overall success through doing so is the true purpose at heart. And if you're able to keep that in the forefront, I really think you're going to be successful in this. So lastly, I have, let's click through this. I have a few stories on some examples of where these thoughts, strategies, traits applied. So just this past week, I got one of my clients under contract for a turnkey rental. So he's not looking for a fix and flip or anything like that, but he's looking for a rental. And we went and saw it. And between the time that I saw it with him, 18 hours later, not 24, 18 hours later, there were 13 additional showings because this home was in a prime location, great shape. It cash flow solid. And also it was recently reduced. It was a great value. But my client offered $25,000 under ask. There was some negotiation and he ended up $12,500 under ask. However, the property is worth $20,000 more than that. The worth. The reason he ended up getting it, even going low, was because of a few things. I was in quick communication with the broker, right on top of it. He knew that he wanted to buy property and he was pre-approved. He knew he wanted to buy in this area. He knew the numbers worked. Okay. So there's already 4 things that are working in his favor. Then fifthly, I asked the broker, when does your client need to close? And he said he needs to close fast by the 27th of November. So, so we were the only ones really moving quick. So essentially we were his only option, because my guess is others weren't moving as quickly. They weren't able to close in that time frame, things like that. So that's why we ended up winning. And that's part of the knowing what you want, where you want it, and the speed, and not hesitating to pull the trigger. Maybe I should not say pull the trigger, but act on it. Next one is in Hope Mills. These are a couple of my properties. A single family home that I ended up getting needed work. It looked like it was a foundational issue, but the reality was it wasn't. It was the foundation wall. And I could tell from my pre-purchase inspections. However, that piece really scared away a lot of investors. And that being said, they didn't have a lot of attention on this property. However, they were selling it at basically 50% off. They're selling at 75. It needed $10,000 worth of work. And after we did the work on it, it was worth 150. So we cashed out. We got tax-free money from the cash out refinance. It cash flowed after with a long-term rental. The property is in good shape. And also we have incredible equity in it because knew what I wanted, knew what the work was going to take, knew the numbers, and acted on it. So that was a single family. And then a commercial property that I bought in February, and we got into it. I got it off of Craigslist. Okay. It's 7.6 acres in Fayetteville with a 12-unit dorm property on it. Dorms are rooms that are the building with rooms, has a kitchen, has a living room, common area, and shared bathrooms. Bought this property. We're going to fix it up. And we invested money into rehabbing it, decided that we were going to sell it rather than rent it out, and put it on the market for $850,000. We bought it for $435,000, so over double. And right, no, just about double, a little under. And we have a few pre-approved interested buyers to buy it here soon. So if we're able to sell that within the year and make a few $100,000, that'll be pretty insane. And some of the mindsets that went into that one was securing a property that had been sitting for a long time, coming up with a solution for that owner, which was an owner financed a purchase from them with that was 95% owner finance. We only put 5% down on this purchase. Didn't have any like credit checks, bank checks, anything like that because it's owner financed. And then we have a balloon payment in 2 years. So by getting creative and understanding deal structure, understanding this area is growing, understanding and seeing the opportunity within this property allowed us to secure it and have multiple exit strategies. The one that we're choosing, if everything goes well, will make us about what is that, $400,000 in a year, which is pretty insane. And you can't do that buying stocks. You can do that buying real estate. Another one is a house in Bryan, Texas, my first rental. So this is really what got all these mindsets juices flowing. My love and my craving for real estate was a rental I got in my college town in Bryan, Texas. I knew that I wanted to get a rental. I saw developments that were coming in the area. I knew that home prices in the neighborhood I selected were quite low and that it would cash flow pretty well. So I ended up buying it, putting money into it, fixing it up. And ever since, it's doubled in value. That was in 2017. So 6 years later, it's doubled in value. Bought at 154. It's worth over double. It's worth like 335 right now. So that equity is crazy. The cash flow is incredible. And now developments have come to that area that are just going to blow that value through the roof next 5-10 years. So those are some anecdotal stories. Just wanted to share with you guys. Definitely not tooting my own horn, but giving you like reasons and ways in my mindset going through these projects and what they've resulted in by embracing these mindsets we talked about throughout the presentation. So that's all I've got. Said it was going to be short, still ended up being 30 minutes, but happy to have any Q&A, questions, answers about anything. It may not really be related to this. I'd love it to be, but yeah, I'll leave it to you guys.
Yeah, I'll start. I'll say super helpful and I'd say inspiring for me to just kind of hear some of the stories at the end, Dimitri, of some of the projects that you've been able to get done. Kind of like you said, using the mindsets that you speak to, and also kind of gives me confidence in your mentorship and like going down this path, right, of what we're trying to accomplish, just seeing that it's been done before, of course. I'm curious for you, like, what have you found? I really like the quote in the video you shared about like reducing the time between like when you have an idea and like taking action on it. So
Yeah.
I'm curious how that has maybe evolved for you, and just any additional thoughts you have on that specific thing you were sharing there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been a chronic procrastinator in my life. So I just never really would do schoolwork till the last minute, even though I had the time. In general in life, like at my jobs, kind of plagued me. I think, the responsibility and the accountability from others have helped me over the years, whether it be bosses, now my wife, people counting on me has helped. Putting myself in that position has pushed me to grow further. And I think if you have or can get people to count on you too, that'll be a great positive and healthy motivator. But yeah, reducing that time from thought to action, I've found 99 to 100% of the time when that happens, I'm more joy filled. I'm more confident in myself, and challenges that could have grown and snowballed were actually just simple speed bumps that, just rolled over. So that's been a lot of um, my overcoming of that, my take on it. And I would say too, falling flat on my face, which I hope to prevent you guys from, in a lot of ways. But falling flat on my face really has helped me decide I have no other option but to have a thought, have a necessary action, and take action. Um, some examples were, when I first got a hard money loan, I didn't really know how to get the work done and do a draw. So I just kept paying out of my pocket, and I would let time pass from actually accomplishing the work. And then I was just so fearful to send the draw. Like, I was paying credit card interest when all I had to do was request the draw and pay off the card. Like, it was that simple. But my inability to even ask, because I asked the lender, they're like, "Oh, sweetie, it's so easy. You just fill out the sheet and we'll get it. We'll wire you in 48 hours." And I was like, it's that I've been just creating this mountain for something so easy that, like, financially I was losing out, stress wise I was losing out. My project could have gotten done faster. So yeah, just like small example through like actual project I was doing in a place, maybe you guys are in, not having done a hard money loan. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It's like, gosh.
For doing that.
So
I'm curious from if you don't mind me just asking, Dimitri, if I could ask like Calvin and Chanel on the line, like on that topic, is like, I personally have something, but I'm curious if you guys have like something that comes to mind of either like an idea that you have, or like something that you like know that you should do, but like you've just been like kind of putting it off for whatever reason, and like what that is. And maybe Dimitri can kind of help talk you through like any fears or things that you're running into.
yeah, great question. Thanks, Mike.
I feel like there are a lot of things one wants to do, but kind of like Dimitri, where if you kind of grew up financially insecure in some capacities, you're afraid to bet on something because you don't have the surety that it's going to work out. And I would always say, like, for myself, I've never been afforded the opportunity to like make mistakes, right? Because the financial impact can be so great. So especially, something like real estate, where you hear those horror stories of like somebody's house is in foreclosure or something like that. It's like, that saying of fail fast, fail often. It's like, yeah, I know that's true, but if I just hoard all of my resources and not do anything with it, then I know it is safe and secure because it's right where I left it, versus like acting on it and then, it go wrong. But it's like, it could go right, but if you don't do anything, then nothing happens. So it's like that fear. I mean, granted, this mindset conversation is like getting over the hump, because obviously in most scenarios, right, you can solve the problem, but still, I feel like real estate, when it goes well, is like an amazingly great impact, but when it goes wrong, it's also like a very large impact when it goes wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's just so true when you come from a place of, the impact of financial mistakes are pretty drastic and dire in a place growing up with some financial insecurity. That's a huge reason why I put this together. Not really knowing necessarily that's where any of you guys have been or maybe are, but hopefully not are, but maybe have been, but that's where I came from. So being able to just share that and share, the risk overall is worth it. It's not easy, right? And that's where those fears can creep up. But working together, collaborating, it's definitely ways that we can work through that. And I also want to encourage you that, again, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like, you're looking to invest in one of the toughest real estate markets that we have known, because in, let's say, 2008 crash, a lot of stuff was crashing, but lending was willy-nilly. There was no income, basically no income, no ID, no credit check, loans. People were getting loans left and right. Investors were taking out money without really having a plan because they could. And it led to a lot of those horror stories. A lot of people lost a lot, right? And in this time frame, interest rates are at the highest they've been in 20 years, since like 2000, I'm pretty sure. Inventory is at an all-time low, so it's not even like the interest rates have caused prices to be down and inventory to be plentiful. The reality is it's low inventory. So that's on the public, residential primary residence buying side, and also on the investor side and the off-market inventory. It's just low. So you're fighting for a lot more fewer properties with the same amount of investors theoretically. And also, prices have remained high. So it's a conundrum where interest rates are high, prices are high. So the buyers, are coming in at a lower rate. The available opportunities as a buyer are, more slim. So what I want to encourage you in, not that that's all doom and gloom, because by strategically leveraging and adjusting your strategy, which a lot of you guys are talking about doing fix and flips. Well, if you have a low inventory and high prices, that's quite ideal to be providing that inventory, right? So then the hard part comes finding the property and making the project happen so that you can then be providing the highly valued property at the end of the deal to the market. Those interest rates, there's ways around it. Interest rates are not going to kill you when you have a final product. You're able to offer seller concessions to help buy down an interest rate. And I'll tell you, generally, people still are buying. They may be more picky, so they want a better product. They may, want a better location, things like that. But houses are still moving. They're not sitting there forever and ever, especially in the range we're talking about. One, like $75,000 to $200,000. Those homes move. If you go, as long as you're below 300, basically, you're pretty gold as far as fix and flip goes for ARV. But I want to encourage you there too. Just generally, you guys are going at it the hardest time. Imagine finding success in the most difficult time. What are you going to do when times are easy? Like, you learned all the hard lessons in the hard time. When times are easy, you're going to just be bankrolling. You're going to be doing so well. So I want to encourage you there. Tangent for sure. But yeah, if you guys have any other fears, Calvin, Isra, if you guys have anything that, has been holding you back. I know we have a one-on-one call on Friday, but maybe something here that someone else might be struggling with, or the group, be happy to address or answer or speak on, or just hear.
Yeah, we were just worried about like all the fees for all these hard money loans, like because we didn't take into account for that, just the cash flow, like $100, a month. I'm just worried that, if it's all worth it, paying thousands for rehab application fees, right now, or if it's better just to wait it out. But yeah, I think we're gonna do it. But that was just the fear that we've been having.
For sure. Yeah. And that's totally fair, because they are a lot higher than just a normal loan would be. that's part of the like the opportunity cost for it. And so that's something that, as long as the numbers make sense within your analysis, you know, you should move forward on knowing that, hey, these are accounted for, these aren't anywhere additional. So in those instances, in the fix and flip calculator I have origination fees, I have doc fees, I have application fees, and you can adjust there. But if you look on my master, like the standard, I've tried to put kind of like middle of the way. And on my last call that I did about hard money loans, on the PowerPoint, I think I even sent it in the group, and I can send it again. But I have kind of like the typical ranges, just so you can have greater confidence that, hey, like this might be a lot, but this is a typical range. I think you sent me that the application fee was like $1,500, maybe $1,585. It's pretty crazy. And with that lender in specific, I would definitely ask if it is due upon application. But from my experience, their expectation is that you get pre-approved, and then you move forward with a property. And whenever you buy that property, you actually close on it, which means you're going into a project, you're taking a loan from them. At that point, they take the application fee. Again, reconfirm, but that's my understanding. And then they have a $1,500 application fee, but I think their document fee is only $250 or so, which is on the lower end. So they kind of balance out, because I typically expect the doc and the application fee to be between $1,500 and $2,000 together. So it fits in that range, and that's just numbers that you got to account for. Touching on the point where you said, hey, is it worth cash flowing $100 a month? Well, no, if you're just buying it, fixing it, and then only cash flowing $100 a month. But if you are buying it, fixing it, and then being able to do a cash out refinance, where at the bare minimum you get your initial investment back, then you have a property that cash flows $100 a month, plus the equity you left in it of 25%. So you just created, so to your overall net worth, you created $100 a month plus that equity. And now you have your nest egg, the starter fund that you began with, to go invest into another one. Now, let's say this property you don't refinance, instead you flip it, right? Those fees that you have to pay on the hard money loan, as long as your percentage is 25% on your profit margin when you sell it, it's going to be worth it, because you're going to, at that point, in hopes, double your money and be able to do another project. Go after a rental that cash flows more than $100 a month, $300-400 at least net after your expenses. That would be great. And then put the other part of the money towards a flip that you can flip or burr, opening yourself up to multiple options. That's my take on it. Just make sure that the numbers are in the spreadsheet, and if they make sense, confirm, and then move forward with it. But yeah, you guys, I appreciate those, and they're very valid, and that goes back to my ask questions. I think maybe also share fears quickly. That way we can talk through it. And if you disagree with what I'm saying, or like what I say either doesn't encourage you, motivate you, convince you, like, I'm not here to just like convince you. I'm here to give you my thoughts, and you, as a incredibly intelligent adult, can take them on and say, no, Dimitri, I disagree with you, or no, but what about this part of it? I can certainly miss things. But I want to talk through with you and give you what I know and what sometimes the reality is when you're investing. That way, you can have greater confidence to pull the trigger, to take action. Yeah. So that's a lot on like the topic that we did talk about. Do you guys have any questions outside of that? We have about 13 more minutes. Can answer a few questions.
No question, just more of a comment to say, thank you, Dimitri, for taking the time to impart your knowledge on us. because you don't know that you need something until somebody presents it. So I think this mindset conversation today was definitely something I didn't know I needed.
Cool.
So for that, we appreciate you, because I think, especially like you said, if we are able to be successful in this market, which is one of the toughest markets, right? It's only up from here. So knowing that, we just got to take the first step, and once you do it once, you can do it again. So for that, we appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Very sweet.
Yeah, I wanted to add just one thought, to what you were saying earlier about like kind of fears and like risk of something, an opportunity working out. Something I've been thinking a lot about, specific to like this group, is like the feedback, that active analysis, the like external perspectives on what we're looking, things that we're looking at, and working with Dimitri, of like just like adding an extra layer, I guess, of security, right? So I can, when I was thinking about getting into real estate on my own or pursuing business on my own, and all of the fears that were around that, and like I thought I knew what I was doing, like, okay, like I see things on social media, like I think I get it, like I think I can do this. And then like getting into a group, and like every call, every conversation is like, okay, we're building. And I just feel like the more that we can share with each other, and like especially like working directly with Dimitri, who's like been through this so many times, right? Just like gives such a higher chance, I think, of success, right? Like, of course, Dimitri's giving caveats of like, success isn't guaranteed, and like, of course, there's always a chance that things don't work out, and I appreciate that, and I definitely agree with that like we need to be conscious of that. But like think our chance of success is much higher. And also like having that, like, I think a little bit of that fear is good, right? Like that we're like checking ourselves and making sure that things are a good opportunity, and like really trying to like mitigate as well as we can. But like still trying not to let that get to a point of like it's holding us back from taking action, and like really trying to keep moving forward, right? So I think it's a little bit of a balance, but just wanted to share a little bit on like, because I've kind of been thinking about that too, of like when am I ready? But like just acknowledging of like the community aspect, and like working with other people who are experienced and can kind of share that knowledge, I think has been really helpful for my personal confidence, and maybe you guys feel that way too.
Yeah, absolutely. These are the moments where community is truly important, right? Because like you said, you read the tweets, you see the TikTok, it's like, oh, I got this. Like, I know what I'm doing. And then you're like, do I? So I definitely agree that having community, especially in this space where we have somebody like Dimitri who has done it before, but also has the two hats of, right, like I know it as an investor, but then I also know it as like an agent, I think is one benefit that most people don't have, because most investors are just investors, right? So like they're like, oh, this is what I do, but they can't give you like the intricacies of like how it applies in a real estate perspective, especially as an agent. So we definitely are some lucky folks for sure. And speaking of real estate, just an aside, Dimitri, did you see this this trial that was happening and like the awarding on that? So how will that impact the industry?
So has there been a conclusion?
Yes, they were awarded 1.78 billion in favor of the plaintiff.
Okay, so I'm not exactly sure how that, I'll need to look into it, but I know that there were a high level of fears of like real estate agents kind of going away, or having to heavily like reduce their commissions, have a lot more like restrictions, only being able to, I think, I don't want to speak too much on it. I don't know too much, but I'll need to look more into it, probably make like a short YouTube video on it or something. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, like I know about it, and this mostly the extent that I have. But most like brokers and agents don't even know like this was even going on, who it affects the most. So Yeah, it's pretty
Okay,
crazy.
well, we will wait for the YouTube video and the update. I just saw it on Twitter and was like, oh, okay, what does this mean? For like, I don't know if it impacts us as individual investors and such, but more, brokers and agents, as you said. But all things have a trickle down.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, I'll learn more about it. I'll make a video on it because I definitely need to know too. Realtors fund. Oh yeah. Sheesh. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, it mainly affects broker fees. So I'll let y'all know. It should not affect investing necessarily. If anything, it might be a benefit. Well, we have 7 minutes left. I know that we have had or have one-on-one calls on the calendar this week. Come loaded with your questions. I hope tonight really helped. I really want to get you guys moving along. Of course, you have to be, in the right position, prepared with your finances, with your criteria, with what you're looking for, and then actually find that property, which is difficult in these times. I mentioned with low inventory, on market and off market, but the property's there. And when you're prepared and the property's there, let's go for it. Because another thing I need you to know is just because I'm hitting my computer, just because you offer on a property doesn't mean it's getting accepted. You may not be the only one offering. So we really got to start getting offers out there. And then you'll be able to actually pick up a property, actually start going through the process. You'll understand that all this learning you've done, it'll start coming flooding to you. And then a lot of things that we've talked about, you're going to have questions on because you're actually going through them. So you're going to be like, oh, what was that? What am I supposed to be looking for here? What's like I'm a smart decision in this situation, which So if you bring that question, I'll answer and you'll probably be like, oh, yeah, cool. I remember that now. But it'll really catapult you. Number one leads to number two, which leads to number three. So you guys, if you have any other questions, comments, send them in the group chat, send them into our one-on-one DM, or bring them up on our call, and I will send the recording to this. As soon as it processes. I'll send the PowerPoint in the group chat. And yeah, if you have any new topics you want to touch on, send them in the group so I can make a presentation on it, maybe make a YouTube video, things like that to provide you value. And I know that your question is also someone else's question. So it's really nice to see all of you. I'll wrap it up here a few minutes early, and happy Halloween. I hope you have a good night.
Awesome.
You too. Happy Halloween. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.